Hello and welcome back to another session of creating an e-commerce project using PHP, PHP, Bootstrap, and Jquery. So this is the 7th session, and we are still working on a category. Let me start counting the time. So in the previous class we stopped at this point without wasting much time. We stopped at this point whereby we could click on edit category like this, and the category could be loaded. Okay, so we're working on the logic of editing category. We stopped at this point where we could get the properties of a certain category. For example, I was getting the properties of category 17, and we could get the category, and after getting category we get also its properties, and attached to the item that it belongs to this category. That's what we did in the previous class. So today we are going to continue from there, whereby we have these properties of this category. Now we are going to load them here. Okay, these are the properties. So in case the user want to edit the category, we should do what? We should load the properties in the input, so that you can be able to either remove or modify a certain property. That's what you're going to work on right now. So with that much said, let's start implementing what we're going to do. So I'm going to copy this thing that I dumped here. It will help me just to see the names of the functions that I use, the names of the attributes that I use. So I'll go back to my project, and this is where we're working at here. So I'm going to go where there's a pre-tag. Okay, here. So I'm going to remove all this garbage. Of course, we've got the categories here, and then I'm going to check if the categories are not empty, and I will get the first category. Okay, so I'll just say if these cards are not empty. Of course, they shouldn't be empty, and then I'll get the category that I'm going to edit, which is going to be maybe cart is equal to the cards in the position 0. Okay, so this is where we'll be checking and getting the category that we're going to do that we're going to edit. So once we have that, now I'm going to start initializing things that I should put in the inputs. I can either do them from here, it has no problem, or I can again check here later, because I don't want this loop to be big, but I can do them from here, no problem. So I'm going to simply dump or paste the other structure of a category here, and then I'm going to start getting the values of each as I'm feeding them in these fields. Okay, for example, the category name should be there in case I want to edit. So let us do that. We have category name. By default, I'm going to make this category name to be an empty variable, or just nothing, like a no variable. So to do that, I'll just simply come here on top and make category name to be nothing by default, and then I'll go to the field of category name, which is this one, and I'll give it a value of that category name. So it's going to be value PHP, the category name. So I'll come and get this category name and do what, and update it here in case there is any category that is found. I'll come and update it here, like it should be the category name of this that has come here. Okay, so if I refresh right now the name should be here. So it shouldn't be add category. Now this word should change to what? To update category. See, something is still wrong. That's what could be wrong. So we have this one. Say, I'm supposed to put here empty. Okay, if not empty, like this. Okay, so I'll get the first the category in position 0. So if I come and refresh, you can see we're having kids already initialized here. So it shouldn't be here again add category. It should be at least edit kids category. Okay, so to do that, I'll simply come here on top You see, this one shouldn't be add category. Now it should change at least. Okay, so I'm going to call this one title. I'm going to make it a variable and make it a title. I'm going to call it maybe title is equal to, by default is add category. Okay, add category by default. So this title will change at this point when we make sure that there's a category that has been found that want to be edited, and then I can update it at this point. Okay, edit. I can say editing this. You attach there the category. So instead of writing a static string here, I'm going to come and change it, and make it what? And make it be the title. PHP equals sign title. So here it shouldn't be add category, should be edit category. It should be dynamic. Did you understand? Editing kids. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. So after doing that, we'll go ahead and initialize this input and the picture in case the picture is there. So to initialize the input, to initialize the measuring unit, of course I'll make a default value of unit and make it to be nothing by default. I'll make it to be nothing by default, and then I'll come here and initialize it in case we find a category when we're editing in this point. Okay, in this point. So I'll make it to be unit, and here put unit. So I'll come in the field of unit and give it a value PHP, and I put there the what? The unit attribute. Okay, so this is a photo. So I'm going to put here a small photo in case there's a photo that is existing. Okay, I'm going to put there a small photo. So I'm going to come in category photo. Okay, category photo. Where is it? We call it category photo. So I'm going to make it to be nothing by default. I'll update it only when there is a category that has been found at this point. Okay, so I'll update the category photo to be the category photo. So after doing that, I'll come here in where there's a category photo. Here I'm going to divide this one into 3, or I'm going to add another, or let me make this one 4. I'm going to add another input of not even 4, another, not input but another section where I'm going to put the photo in case there is a photo that is found. So I'm going to say if okay, just write if strlen of this category photo is greater than what? Maybe it's greater than 4, and then I'll put the image of that category. In case it's not greater than 4, then this step will be skipped. img src is going to be let us go here on the all categories, admin categories, and get that mg that we did. Okay, yeah, upload directory, and then put the category name. I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so it's going to be the uploads file, and here I'll replace it with the name that you've done. Not remember, this is a constant that we defined in the previous class, where it's just the name of the uploads, the folder where we're storing the uploads. So I'll come and refresh. Now it should show an image, okay, of what you're editing in case it is there. So I'm going to change it to reduce its size. For example, I'm just going to give it width of maybe 40. Now if I come and refresh, a small image will be there of what? Of a category that we're editing. So here it should be column D4, then here it should be maybe 2, not 4 again. Okay, so you can see the photo is there of what we're editing. Well, maybe I should make it width maybe 100. Maybe let us see. Yeah, that can work, of the category photo that we're editing. So after putting the width, we'll go ahead and in case there is one to change, you can put here. Now we come to the properties, but remember we have so many properties, so we have to get the properties. Remember we collected them and we loop. Okay, so we're going to make here, I can make it maybe like a public array. I'm going to call it what? Properties, properties, and I'm going to make it what? An empty array. Okay, so these properties will be increasing it only when there's a category that has been found here. Okay, so I'm going to simply say properties is equal to or equal to category properties. You remember we stored them in a section called category properties. I hope that's it. So let's try it and refresh and see if there's no error, because I'm not sure. Of course it's okay. Now I'm going to loop through these properties as I put these inputs. Okay, property, I'm going to put the properties here. Okay, so I'm going to just search for that word remove. Okay, and I'm going to loop through, I'm going to loop this row. Okay, so I'll leave there a default row, an empty row, so I have to duplicate this one, because there must be at least one row that can be repeated. So I'm going to loop through this. So it's going to be for each, and I'm going to loop through what? Loop through properties. I can call this one prop. Okay, and then I will do what? I'll come and end the for each loop after this row. Okay, my point is I want to loop this row of properties. Okay, so I'll expand this one and come and get this property. Of course this property is nothing but what? But a string, I mean an array of property ID, property name, and a property category. So I will just simply come and say I'm interested in two things, the property ID and the property name. So I'm going to come here and change the value here. Of course this is the property name, so I'm just going to change the value. So it's going to be PHP, and I get this property here, what I call the prop. So it's going to be prop, and I get its property name because it is an array. So I paste there the property name. So if I refresh now, it should be what? It should be having so many properties. Can you see the properties there with their respective names? But there's one more thing that we say that we will need, which is the what? Which is the ID, and this ID will help us to know if it is inserting or updating. So I'll come here in the side of ID, you can see it is here, so I'll change it and make it PHP and give the property ID here. Property ID, I'll just come and copy the name as it is here, property ID. You know what it does? Okay, it will help us to know if it is time to update this property or it is time to do what? To delete it. My code is a little bit disorganized, but you can get the concept. Just, you know, every attribute has an ID and a what? And a property and the name. So this property name, you will not see it. Why? Because there's what? It is hidden and the user does not want to touch it. Okay, it just helps us, we developers. Let me unhide it and you see. So you can see each property, it is having what? Its unique size, its unique ID, unique ID, unique ID. So we have to hide them. We have to keep them hidden. The user does not need to see them. Okay, so there we go. So now I can even remove. You can see. Did it remove everything? There is a problem. Okay, There's a problem. What did we loop? What did we loop? Oh yeah. This item is supposed to be inside, okay? This item that we are looping is supposed to be inside. Okay? This is supposed to be inside the loop, even the remove itself, okay? Wait. This is for each. So this repeat is going to be for this one, the default one that will be repeating. You know, there will be a default property that will be repeating no more, that will be there all the time, that will not loop. Okay, so that in case the user comes for the first time, when this loop is empty, we should at least have that one position that the user will have to do what to add. So I'll have here in the loop, I'll surround it with this with this class of properties. Okay, data repeater list properties. Okay, I'll have to surround it with it because they have to be repeated in case you want to remove, and it should be removed. So if I refresh right now, we'll have the properties, and you see we can remove each of them separately. Why is it not working? Something is wrong. Oh, properties. No. This is properties, list of properties. Okay. That's an error. A property item, yeah, it should be like this. Let me see. Wait, let us see. Let us go back a little bit. Okay, so these are the properties. So we have to repeat this item, okay? This item, data item, has to be repeated. So we'll have this single item first, separately outside the loop, because sometimes the loop cannot come. For example, when you're adding for the very first time, so it will not come. So this data repeater item, it should also be there, being looped. Okay, data repeater item should be again inside the inside the loop, being looped. Okay, so now I think it's now okay. Just come and refresh. You can see just remove. Perfect. You see it is removing now, and we can add. Okay, so it is working perfectly. Okay, so let's go ahead and do what, and put the description. So the description is just going to be with the text area. I'm just going to remove this garbage and replace it with PHP, and it's going to be as the name of its original value, description. Okay, then I'll come on top and make it to be nothing by default. Okay, so after making it nothing by default, I'll go ahead and do what, and initialize it, and when we get a certain value here, I'll initialize the details to become the details. Okay, so if I refresh, everything is okay. Everything is okay. So now what next? What next is what next is now this submit is okay. So you can see everything is okay. Now what next is now to submit. Okay, is to update now. Okay, in case this submit, you can also change to what, to update. So is to update. Now the question is, how shall we know that this time is an update And how shall we know this time is an insert? Okay, so when we submit this form during update, we should put there at least a different thing that will help us to know that it is time to update. And the thing that we can put there that help us to know that it's time to update is to add the property of the category ID that we're updating. Because if you add a category ID, you have to know the exact category ID that you update. Okay, because if you don't know the exact category ID that you update, then you will not know. Then you will not be able to do what to tell which category ID you're going to update. Okay, so I'm going to again upload this category ID. I'm going to look for it somewhere in a form, and I attach it in on this form, so it will help us. If we send that ID, then we will know it is time to update. If the ID does not come, then we can know it is time to do what? To insert. So I'm going to create that ID. Where is it? Already we have that ID, of course, when it is time to do what? To update. So where is the edit? Okay, we get it here. So I'll make this category ID to be nothing by default, or to be 0 by default. Okay, then after we'll come and add it in a what? In a form, so that we should know which particular category that we are doing what? That we're editing. So I'll update it at this point. Of course, this is updated here when we are getting it from the gate. It will get updated when we get it from the what? From the gate. So don't need even to change it. So let's go ahead and give it a place in the what? In the form. Somewhere in the form we can add like the ID that you're updating, okay, or the category that you're updating. Okay, so it's going to be an input, and it's going to have of type number, of course, and it's going to have the value of PHP category ID, and the name will be nothing. Okay, I mean the name will be category ID itself. Okay, so or you can say edit, you can call it any name. Okay, so we can know that this time is for edit, this one is for inserting. Okay, so I'll save and I refresh, or let me just call it edit. Okay, let me call it edit. Okay, so if I refresh, you will see it has come here. Okay, so if we edit a category number 17, the ID will be there. Okay, so if we edit maybe number 18, the ID will be there. So what to do is to hide it, because the user is not supposed to see it. So I'll give it a type of what? Of hidden. Hidden, and we can also hidden. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Okay, so we can give that type of hidden. So let's save and refresh. It should be hidden. Okay, so here in case we want to change this one, instead of submit or instead of add new, we can as well change it. Let me remove this reset. I'm going to put a variable. I'm going to call it btn text, or submit text, submit underscore text. Okay, I'm going to do what? I'm going to initialize it. So by default it will be add new product, maybe upload new product, or publish product. Can be add new. Okay, can be maybe upload product, maybe. So here, instead of saying upload product, when it is time for editing, I'll come here and change it to update product. Okay, so if I come and refresh, syntax number 75, or semicolon. It's a silly mistake. Refresh. Now you can see the word has changed automatically. And when you add a new product, is what? It is add product. When you update a product, it is update product. Now let us work on the update logic. Okay, it's going to be a little bit hectic, but don't worry, we'll fix it, everything. So let us change these kids and maybe add like 2 full stops, and then we try to update. So we're going to submit to the same form, and here we can okay, let's leave everything. Let's just work on this update of the keywords, I mean of the title. So I'll click on update. Which form is missing? Oh, category photo. Okay, so category photo, remove the input of required. Refresh. So the thing is, now here when we update, what is going to happen? It's going to insert it. Why? Because let's see, just let me update. That's good. You see, it is now update. We are now working on the logic of what? Of updating. In fact, I've already done it. Okay, so how did I manage to tell that this is time for updating? I first got the category ID like this, and I check if there's a post of category ID. In fact, I want to check that if it is time to update or not. What I did, I got the category ID and I convert it to what? To an integer, and I check if the category is set at the same time the category is wait, I want to explain here properly so that you should get the point. Like how did I know it is time to do what? To update. Okay, oh yeah, it is time to update the attributes. Let me remove this die. These are for updating the attributes. Let me refresh. You can see from that update, it has been created. This one is just for creating. Okay, but remember there are 2 scenarios that will happen when you're working with that form. One scenario is for updating, another scenario is for inserting. So you have to say to differentiate the two without one interacting with the other, or without one mixing up with the other. So we are going to check either if it is adding new or updating. Okay, so the characteristics of updating is that the product ID, or the product ID itself, it will have what? It will have a value which is more than what? More than 1. Okay, the product ID. Another thing that we can know that it is time to update. Remember, we added here another attribute called what? Called edit. Okay, we added another attribute called what? Called edit. So this edit, it will have the category ID. So in case it is coming for the very first time, the category ID, it will be 0. Okay, in case it's coming for the very first time, the category ID, it will be 0. Why? Because by default the category ID we set it to be what? To be 0. But in case this edit is coming for the update time, it will be more than what? More than 0. Let me show you what I mean. So what I'm going to check on top, I'm going to check if there is a what? There is edit. Okay, so I'm going to check if there is what? If there is edit here in the category name post. Okay, here just on top, here, just here on top, on very top, I'm going to check if it is editing time. So I'll check if is what? Is set. If is what? Is set. Okay, I can just make me this edit to be 0 by default. Okay, or I can make category ID. Of course, category ID is going to be 0. So I'm going to check if edit is set. If is set, the post of edit Okay, so if it is say the post of edit, I'm going to update this what? The category ID. So category ID is going to be, I'll first typecast it to integer to make sure that what I get is what's an integer. So it's going to be a typecast of an edit. Okay, so in case just this edit is more than 0, or in case we get a value that is more than 0, because our integers will, our category IDs will begin from 1 and above, then in case we get a value here that is more than 0, then we can tell, oh, it is time to do what? To edit. Otherwise, if it is not more than 0, then it will know it is time to insert, because by default the category ID is 0. Did you understand that point? Fatmat? Fatu? Are you following? So, by default this integer is going to be 0. So I'll check if there is any post of edit, and if it is set, I just update this edit and I typecast it to integer. So in case this integer is going to bring something more than 0, then I'll know, oh, there's a what? There's a product that you want to do, that you want to edit. Why? Because this integer is only updated here in the what? In the editing section. Okay? Here in the editing part. That's when it is updated, in case there is an update. Otherwise, by default is what? It is 0. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going, and you know, there must be only one scenario, one of the two scenarios. It is either updating or inserting. So I'm going to come here on top and check if it is greater than 0. I'll say that it is what? It is update. If it is greater than 0 and it is set of category, I'll notice what? It is inserting. So I'm going to come here on top after getting the category. You know, this category by default is 0. So I'm going to check here and if I say if this category is greater than what? Is greater than 0. So it means it is 1 and what? Then I'm going to die here. It is time to what? Time to update. Updating. Please follow. Don't just pretend to be following while you're not following. Okay. So I'll put here the else, because it has to be one of the two. It is either updating or inserting. So I'll put the else, and the if is already there. Else if. Okay. So else if is set of category, then I'll know it is what? It is time to insert. Let me die here like insert, so that I should differentiate the two. Inserting. So that's how I can differentiate that either it is time to update or it is time to do what? To insert. So let's refresh. Okay, so I'm going to add here. It is category number 6. I'm going to add there what? Like 3 dots. And then I'll come here and say update. So you can see it is showing updating. So I can tell now whether it is an update action or it is a what? An insertion action, using that logic. Okay, you know, of course, we are going to update category number 6. So let us work on the updating logic. We're going to work on the updating logic. So this updating logic, we're going to put it in this section. Okay. So I'm going to require once this file. Since we are requiring it once every time, so we better put it on top just here. Like require once the files. I better put it on top there. But make sure that you use require once, because the header can also need it. So if you don't do that, then you can get problems. So I require once, and then once I require once, I'm going to collect this data. Okay, so it's going to be the same. It's going to be like kind of repetition, but what I'll do, I'll just copy this and paste it here, just to be on safe side. So I have the data that I want to insert. I want to update. So the next thing is uploading a file, but we'll only upload a file if the file is existing. So I'll just do the same thing. I'll just copy this and paste it here. Otherwise, we'll not update the what? We'll not update the file. Okay. So otherwise, the file won't be updated. So I'll remove this category photo here, the default one. I'll have to remove it. Otherwise, it will update it all the time. So I'll remove it. I'll only update it only when there is a file that is being uploaded. So I'll remove also this else part. Okay. So once the file is updated successfully, then I'll add that category photo on the category. Only when there is a successful what? Successful update. Otherwise, if there is no successful upload of the category photo, then I'll leave the previous category photo as it was. So that is the same logic. Then after, we'll have to insert, of course, in what? In the database. Not insert, but to update. Okay? Not to insert, but to update. So right now we're going to do a function that is going to work on the updating logic. Okay? So instead of saying db insert, you're going to use to get another function called db update. So let me first die with the data and see if everything is still okay. So I'll just simply put echo the pre-tag and dump everything in the what? In the data, and die here and see if everything is okay. So I'll refresh so you can see everything is okay. Now the category name, the unit, and the what? And the description. And the photo is not there, so the photo will not do what? Will not come. So after doing that, now let us go ahead and update it. So we're going to write the logic of what? Of updating. So to update, remember we have already the ID is here. So we have to get here. It's going to be like this, db insert, but this one is we're going to create as db update. So at first we'll give it the table that we need to update. The second thing will be the data. Maybe the third thing now should be the what? The condition. Because we cannot update without a condition. Are you following? Are you listening?
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
So I'm going to put here our condition is just going to be an array. I was going to have the category ID, and it's going to be the category ID. So our condition is just going to be array. So we're going to do the logic of what? Of updating. We're going to write that function of that will generate the SQL of update. Okay. So it's going to be take three things: the category, the table name, the data that you should update, and the what? And the condition, because you must provide the condition in order for it to work. So let's go and do what? And update it and do the update. Okay. So we'll simply go to the functions and look for the insert. It's going to be look much like insert. So we're going to duplicate the insert function just like this, and then rewrite the name of the function, which is going to be db update. Okay. So the first thing we take the table, the second thing we take the data. We'll add one more thing, the condition, conditions or condition, whatever. So we'll check the same things. We'll check for the table. We check for the data, and we'll check also for the condition. So I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll copy the whole thing from the table and the data. So I'll come and put it here under the condition. Under the update. Okay. After doing that, I'll go ahead and copy the and check for the condition. Okay, because if the condition is not set, will not allow the user to update. Most of the time, if you want to update, you must have what? You must have some conditions. Okay, in our project, if you want to update something, you should be at least sending one condition. Otherwise, we'll not do that. We'll not update. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to check if empty is I mean, if there is empty, we can say conditions were not set. Conditions were not set. I can use only one condition. Oh, conditions were not set. Should we use one condition? For now, let us use just a simple condition. Okay, the first condition. So after doing that, now we'll have to create the SQL of updating. The SQL of updating is going to be like that one of inserting. I'm going to loop. Let us first look at the SQL of updating itself. So I'll go to W3 schools and look update SQL. Update SQL. You can look at it here. For it, it is where is it? So it is update the table, set column is equal to this is equal to this is equal to this, where, and you give the the conditions also. Okay, so the condition for us, it will be 1 at this moment. We'll use only a single condition, and then we'll have this the main SQL. So let us copy and come and comment here and see what we want to write. Okay, so the SQL is going to be like, let us see how we write this one. So we're going to get the table columns also. This time we're going to get the table columns. This time we may not need the values and the keys. We'll need the keys, of course, and the value. We may not need them, so just need the columns. So I'll come and get the columns here. So I'll start looping through the data. Okay, so I'll also check if the first point is reached or not. So I'll check if the first point is reached or not, and then if it is reached, then I'll come and loop through the data. Okay, so I'll loop through the data like this. Okay, so as I loop through the data, it is just much like of an insert, but you just see some few differences. Okay, so as I loop through the data, I'll check if the key is existing in a table. Here I already done that logic, so I'll check if the key is not existing on the table. I'll skip it. I'll know that key does not belong to us. And if the key exists on the table, I'll just now do the I'll be able to continue with it, to start writing the SQL. So I'm going just to put here echo key is going to be the key. I'm just testing and see how things are going to be, if things are okay. Then I put the BR tag and the value is going to be that value. Okay, so I want just to see how things will look like before I start working, and then I die here. I put the die at the last. So let us refresh and we see. So can you see update? You see these are the things that are really existing in a category table. Okay, in the category table. So we checked if they are existing the columns. So if they are not existing, we are just continuing. So we have the category name, it is existing, and the value is now kids. The unit is now that. Okay, so the SQL is going to be so we are checking now. We have to check if the first point is reached or not. It's just going to be like the other one. So I'll check here if the first point is reached or not. I'll put here the else. If it is not reached, I'll make it to be true, to be reached. Okay, so I'll make this one to be true. It means that it has been reached here. So let's do that. Now let us start writing the SQL. So I'll just write here out of the loop, I'm going to initialize the SQL. The SQL is going to be update the table name. Of course, the table name, we already have it here. Okay, so it's going to be update table. Okay, and make sure that there is a space there. And then after doing that, we start putting the values. Okay, so it's going to be dot equal to. So if it is the first one, okay, if first point is not reached, then it's going to have the word set. Okay, we're going to put here set. Okay, then we start. The value is equal to the other one, is equal to the other. Okay, so the key, you're going to be set the key equal to $, the what, the value, right? Okay, the key is equal to the value. Okay, we can go ahead and first escape the value before we use it. Okay, we already read that SQL, so we'll first escape the value before you use it, and first escape the value before you use it. Okay, so values, the key is equal to the value. So the first one, which one will have comma? The first one or the last? And this will be the same, but the only difference here, one of them will have comma, so I don't know which is which. Maybe this one. Let us see what we'll have come up with. So I'll die here with the what? With the SQL, and see how the SQL looks like after the loop. Okay, let us see how the SQL looks like after the loop. Refresh. It's going to be like this. Okay, it's beautiful, right? Update category, set category name is equal to this, unit is equal to this, unit is equal to this, comma, category description is equal to that, and at last there is no what? There is no a comma. Did you understand? Huh?
Yes.
Very good. So that's how we've set it. Only the comments here now. Now that it means that this SQL, I mean this function, we'll use it to insert in any kind of a table. Even when you create a different project, you just copy this function and reuse it in other projects. So I'll just go ahead and run the SQL. Okay, so let us see how we run this SQL. I'll just copy this. So run the SQL. So instead of returning, I'll first comment the return, and here I'm going just to die that good is going to be bad. Okay, and it's going to be good. Okay, I'm just running the SQL. Let me remove this die of the SQL. So I refresh. Good, that's beautiful. So we can note as done what? As updated. So update, and then later I'll return the what? The response. So that's how I can write the update function that can be used in any kind of project when we are updating. So we have to return the response. I make sure that there's no more equaling here. I just return the response. So this guy will get the response here. Resp is equal to. So let us dump the response and see if the response is okay. So I come and refresh. So you can see the code is 1. So everything is okay. So data was inserted. Just change the message to what? To data was updated. Data was updated successfully. Okay, so now let us go ahead and check if the code is 1 and then send the message. Okay, having bosses here. They come 1 minute before the class ends. Where is this meeting? Okay, so I'll check if the response is 1. If the code is 1, I'll check if the code is 1, and then I'll know it has been updated successfully. Equal to 1, and then I can send the message. Where is our message thing? Message here. I can say product category was updated successfully. I'll put the else part and make it where category something went wrong. Something went wrong. While in case the let me just send the message that comes back from the other side in case it fails. In case it fails, I'll just send the message that does what? That comes back from the response, and change this one to what? To danger. Okay, that's beautiful. So we have to return. So everything is done. But one more thing, we have not updated the what? The properties. We have not updated the properties. We have not updated the properties. We have updated the basic data, but we have not updated the properties. Now it is time to update the properties. Okay? So the basic data is okay. Now it's time for the properties. Let us put the post and look at properties. Okay, so here are the property that we want to update. So if the property is having, let us first understand this. If the property is having a position of 0, we will know that that property is for inserting. I repeat, if the property is having an ID 0, then we'll know that property is to be inserted. But if the property is having the ID more than 0, then we'll know that property is to be updated. Okay? Let me go back and try to bring an item which is having more than one property, maybe like category 16, 17. What's that? Okay, maybe category 17. For it is having more than one property. You see? But remember, these properties we went and feed their IDs. Okay? So I'll do what? I'll update. Let me insert another properties. Okay? So let me insert another property. Let me remove even, by the way, that word property. Okay, I'll remove this value. Okay, because it is now confusing. Okay, let me remove, refresh. Fatmata, I want you to understand this problem. Can you see? Please, I want you to understand here. We have already.
Yes, but definitely affecting the property.
Yeah, we're having some properties already existing, but the user may say, I don't want to call it size. I want to call it sizes. So, but it is already existing. So it has to be what? To be updated. Okay. The user, I want this project to be as dynamic as possible, so that it can be used in any kind of a shop or in any kind of a thing that will manage the product upload and in categories. Now, another time the user can come and add more properties. For example, we can add maybe if this it is clothes for kids, but maybe we may need to specify the gender, whether it's a boy or a girl. So he can add gender, right?
Yeah.
Like this. Then you can add one more property. Tell me one property of a cloth that is not here yet.
Color is there, size, material, gender. That's all.
No. There should be more.
That's all.
No. There is how do you call it? These things of Gucci, Versace, what? How do you call them?
Oh, brand.
Brand? So brand, yeah, maybe that can also matter. So you want to start tracing these things. Maybe his shop has expanded and he want to add more properties. You're getting the point? So
yes,
you find these others were already there. so they may need to be updated, but these others need to be just inserted. So when you click on update, now you can see. So the main difference here, I want you to understand here very carefully. That's why I added in these properties, I added there another thing of property ID. Property ID on each of them when I was looping here. Can you see? I was giving it an ID. So here the main thing is, for properties that are already having that were already existing, their ID is more than what? More than what? Can you respond?
Yes.
More than what?
The IDs.
They're having a value more than a 0.
0, yeah, more than 0.
But for the new properties, for example, gender and the brand, okay, they don't have either it's 0 or nothing.
Yeah.
So these one are to be inserted. These one have to be
updated.
Very good. These are to be updated. These are to be inserted. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So let us work on that logic, and then we end our class. So that is very good. So we'll come here on top. Now we're done with the updating the basic information. Now we have to come and work on the properties. So I'll specify here post properties. I can first check if they are set really, because maybe sometimes it does not remove all the properties. So I can check if is set. They will always be there, properties. But okay, let to be on safe side. But okay, is set. They will always be there, but some will be empty. They can be empty, but it will always be there because it is on the parent. So I'm going just to loop for each. I'm going to loop through these properties, right? And then I'll be getting these props here. Okay. So I'm going to just echo here one by one, and we see how they look like. So you can see we are having. So we now want to identify which one is to be inserted, which one is to be updated. Okay. So I'll just get this ID, and I'll be getting an ID of each. Okay. So I'll just get property ID is equal to, I get this prop value, and you typecast it. You just simply typecast it. If it is nothing, it will be 0. If it is something, it will be what? It will be 1. You understand? It will be a value greater than that. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So now there it is typecast into an integer. So I just need to identify. So you can say if this is greater than what? Than 0. So I'm just going to echo here, updating. I want just make sure that is okay. Updating this guy. Else, I'm going to put inserting. Okay. So here it should be inserting 0, updating a certain value. Okay. So let me first get these two properties names here. So I'll refresh. Let me put here maybe some BR tag. Now you can see. Can you see? Updating 10, updating 11, updating 12, but inserting 0, inserting 0. You understand?
Yes.
I hope so. So let us go ahead and get now the what? The name. So it's going to be the name. For it not be typecasted to integer, right? It will not be. Don't do the mistake of typecasting it. Okay. So I can now go ahead and write maybe prop underscore data, and I create an array that I'm going to do what? To use to insert or to do what? To update. So property data, it will have the property ID To update, first of all, I don't need to update the ID. Only I'm talking about what? Inserting. So it's going to be property data is going to insert the ID. We're not interested. We just need the what? We just need the value. I mean the name. Property name. And I've just got it here on top, right? So I'll put here semicolon. So I'll put here the property name like this. Okay. So here it is then a name. So this one is going to be updating. In fact, this one should just come here on top. You see, I'm going to put here on top. I just need to update the names. Okay. I hope you're getting.
Yes.
Very good. So I just need to update this name. It's just a single value in one array. So I can remove this garbage. Okay. So here it is inserting. Here on top it is updating. So let us go ahead and update. We already have a table that can update. So let us say response. Let me echo here like HR. Just to separate, to make sure that everything is okay. HR, I mean BR and HR. I can put this on after, outside the loop. Okay, so that we should know which one did you update. So this one is inserting, I mean this one is updating, this one is inserting. So now we already have the name that we want to update here. Now let us go ahead and work on the update. So the update is going to be, and just simply say, just I'm going to call this function. We have db update here. Okay, so I can just say db update, and we send the category. Oh, what is the db update? Where is it? db update. db update should have it somewhere. db update. Oh yeah, I made a very big mistake. When writing the SQL for update, you not put the update in. I made a very big mistake. Everything's going to look the same. We forgot to put the condition. I mean, we forgot to consider the condition. But no worries, we will work on it, okay? I've remembered that we did not consider the condition. Okay, so this is the DB update. So I'm going to update. So I have to specify the category, properties. Do you have it here somewhere? Category properties here. This one, right? This one. That make sure. So I'm putting here the table name of the property, and I'm going to update the data. Remember, this is the only data that I want to update. This one. Okay. And the condition is going to be the ID, right? So the condition is going to be an array of property ID is equal to this property ID, like this. Okay, so that's it. And then for inserting, okay, let's first work on the updating. Okay, let's first work on the updating first. So I'm going to catch this thing in the update. Okay, time is over, but I want to finish this update part logic, that it should not confuse us in the next class. Let me finish this update logic so that you should know that we are done with the update. In the next class we begin with the deleting. So I'll just go here in the functions of update. I want to catch this thing before we run the SQL, because we did a very stupid mistake. We forgot to put the what? The condition when we're updating. Then mean that everything will be updated in our table. That is so bad. So let us just stop at here and die with the SQL when we want to update. Let me refresh. That's our SQL update category. It's not even supposed to be. Okay, let us first comment this one of updating category, because for it we know it is working. this one of commenting category. Okay, I'm going to comment this one first for category. We're working on property. This one is already working. So I refresh, so you can see it is updating. Update. So let me come here. So you can see this is just an ID. Update category property set, and then on the set we don't have any logic, so you have to pass the property here that you want to set. Just more 10 minutes, I'll be done. So set, let me see here, update property data. Okay, ID, he's got that. I mean category property name, I hope that's the name that I used, and I'm not seeing it here. So this update function is having some problem. Oh, let's start right there from there in the next class. I wanted to finish. Remember, should I finish or I should okay, so let's start from there in the next class. In the next class we're just going to fix this thing of update, because you've seen that the update is not we forgot to put the condition. Okay, so the next class will begin with the update and put the condition, and then we'll go ahead with the project. Because if we work only this, then we can reuse this code. At this time it can be challenging, but in the coming, for example, in the project, I mean when you're adding a product, it will be simple because we have done the logic of updating and inserting. So the next the next function will be very, very simple. So don't give up along the way. So let us meet in the next class, inshallah.